Marissa from Pilates Haus. I'm so excited to be here with you today. I have a fun workout planned, moderate pace. I call this all around the world. This is kind of like my go-to if I just don't really want to have to think about it a lot. A good solid routine. So if you have a reformer at home, I love this routine. It's just like a solid, kind of hits a little bit of everything. We're gonna be kind of a moderate pace. So this will not be your biggest, sweatiest workout, but it's also not gonna be your slowest, like most relaxing. So have fun with it. If you need to pause, pause. If something doesn't feel right, go back to something that feels awesome. Never work through pain. And yeah, we're gonna get going. So I'm on Marathon equipment. This is Stop Pilates equipment. And you'll see me, I'm set up at 2 and 2. So my gear bar and stop are, equal parts from each other. That just works for me for footwork and really for everything. If you're taller than me, which is very likely, then I suggest starting your footwork. You might need to start a little further away from the foot bar. So start on your footwork settings, whatever that is for you. And then I'm gonna be at like a moderate tension today. So I have 2 reds and 1 blue on. That's just where I'm at with my footwork journey. If you like 3 reds, that's 3 to 4 reds is like standard. I'm just going like a smidge lighter. If you're not on stop equipment, that will feel like some heavy tension. So too heavy or too, like whatever your standard tension is, you want like at least 2 full of those and then either another one or a half. Play around with it, see what feels good for you. So we're gonna get going. I'm gonna start with footwork and then just so that you know kind of where we're headed. We'll start with footwork. We'll kind of get really grounded, feel really awesome. And then, so we'll do footwork. We're gonna do single leg stuff. We're gonna do arm stuff, feet stuff in the straps. And then where the around the world comes in is we'll kind of travel around the world on the carriage. And it just feels good. So have fun and follow along. Here we go. I'm gonna lay down. And again, I'm set up here and I've got my foot bar all the way up. And then headrest, however feels cozy for you. If you like it up, go for it. If you like it down or in between, I'm gonna start with mine down and then we'll see where things go, okay? All right, so I'm gonna start with just taking a second. Take a second and breathe and just kind of give your body a minute to settle into this position. And then maybe bring some awareness to the pelvis. And I like to imagine that there's like a bowl of soup right here on my hips. And I'm gonna spill that soup forward in space and back in space. And I'm just doing some pelvic rocking, nice and simple. You're gonna hear me reference quite a few like Pilates principles. So this is really like if you're familiar with Pilates, not the most advanced work that we'll do, but definitely you want a basic understanding. If you're brand new, check out some other videos or you can schedule a one-on-one with me and we'll get you to a spot where all this is like, oh yeah, I know my neutral and all that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna find my neutral, which is about here today for now. So be in a happy spot for your back. I'm gonna start with the heels on, little gap between the knees and the feet, and just start to press out and in. That's it. So I like to use this. This is not like the traditional way of starting, right? But I like to use this as like a check-in. So what is happening in my body right now that I might need to be aware of later on in footwork? So I like to spend a little bit of time here, maybe even more time here than I would in my other parts of footwork. So you'll see that. And I'm just gonna give you a little mental checklist of things to be thinking about. But what I'd like for you to find is one of those things that feels like that's what you wanna hone in on the rest of our footwork journey today. So I like to start with my feet and travel up. So I feel weight on my heels. And then you can ask yourself, is that weight even? Is there more weight going to the inside or outside of the heel? Could this feel less like a shin thing and more like a heel and glute thing? And then travel up, check in with your knees. Maybe close your eyes and just kind of think about them. Are they trying to go out to the side or in towards each other? And if so, could we work through that? And then I'm going to travel up to the hips. I like to think of a tiny little pinch right where the butt meets the back of the leg. Just enough. Enough that you know it's there, not so much that you lift your hips up off the reformer or something like that. And then I'm going to bring some awareness to my pelvis. Goal is we're staying nice and neutral throughout. Is there a time for you when maybe your pelvis wants to tuck under or arch? And could we work through that? Traveling up a little bit more, thinking about the ribs. They're like softly towards each other, but not jamming down or arching up. They're just there. Neck is soft. Shoulders are open, down. And I think we've done like 30 reps. I'm just kidding. But go ahead and take a break. A little side to side. 2 reds and a blue starts to feel like a lot after that amount of reps. But what I'd like for you to think about is picking one of those things from that checklist and carrying that with you as your focus for the rest of our footwork. So we'll speed it up a little bit. I'm not going to keep everything that slow and like, even though it feels nice. We'll do more of that another time. But find your thing. So if it was like, yeah, my right hip is kind of hiking a lot, then maybe you're focusing on that settling or lengthening, or the feet, or whatever it is for you, pick one. All right, so I'm gonna transition my feet. So we're gonna go balls of the feet on the foot bar, heels together, toes apart. And every time we change the feet, a little something might happen with the pelvis or the ribs or whatever. And that is fine, just be aware of it. And we're gonna go out. So kind of in your head, pick your one thing. And then I'll give you more things to think about, and if they are helpful for you, awesome. If they are not, ignore me. Feel the weight across the balls of the feet. The heels relatively still in space. So that feels like a little bit of glutes, a lot of abs, some quads. Give me 3. 2, keep breathing. Last one. All the way in, let's add a little pulse just for fun. If this doesn't feel good for you, you don't have to do it. If it's like muscles are working, then stick with me. You got it, 2. 1, push all the way out. All the way in. Okay, knees together, feet together. I'm gonna wrap my toes around the edge, and I'm gonna think about my heels going down. It might not look like a lot's happening, but I feel some things. Okay, so knees are together, heels are low, toes are wrapping. Refine that neutral if you lost it, and then press. Come back to your one thing. Maybe it's shifted. When we change the feet, other things happen. So maybe your one thing needs to change now from, a focus on the feet or on the shoulders to focus on the pelvis. And could we feel the heels relatively soft? Like they're not gonna go down when we go out. They're just gonna hover. Last one, all the way in. All right, heels on the bar, knees together, feet together. So really similar to how we started. So whatever you needed to think about with your heels on the bar earlier, this might be a good place to think about that. And take it out. Good, so thinking about your one thing. Out and in, nice and smooth. And I'd like you to just keep breathing. Whatever that looks like for you is awesome. Goal here is that your breath helps you move. And then we move from a place of inhale, exhale, neutral pelvis, shoulders down, and then, oh yeah, I forgot to breathe. And instead, we start from a place of your breath guiding your movement. Last one, we're gonna push out and hold, hang out here. And I just want you to feel some length in your body. So I like to start at my feet. So really push into your feet. Like this is your floor, your foot bar is your floor. So don't be afraid to stand on it with some like power there. So push into your feet. And then did anything get longer? Maybe. Could the front of the hips just like open up? Maybe we find a little bit more neutral than we thought we could find earlier. The shoulders down, the neck long. The heels are there for you, the glutes are there for you, the abs are there for you. And just feel all this length. And could you keep all this length on the way in? And then let's try to find it again on the way out. Reach out, let it feel good. Let those hips open up. And then pull and think sit bones pulling to the foot bar. Exhale, inhale. Or reverse, whatever feels good. I'm gonna give my little toes a wiggle so that they stop gripping up on me. One more. Really nice. All right, I like to finish. I don't always do all of the footwork, so that's where we're at right now. But let's bring the heels nice and wide on the foot bar. So I like to go pretty much out to the corners. You do what feels good for you, but you want to still find your tailbone neutral. So a little space under the low back, not like squished under, right? So find your happy spot. And then just kind of note where your knees are at in space. Good. And then we're gonna go out and come back in with your knees going right back to that same angle that they started. So I like to envision that my knees aren't just bending in, but that they are opening east to west, and my tailbone's getting heavier. And that feels like a really nice inner hip stretching sensation to me. One more. Really nice. Okay, I'm gonna hop up and go to 2 red springs for single leg work. So I'm gonna take my blue off. Whatever tension you like for single leg, find it here. You could stay on, depending on where you're at. You could stay on 2 reds and a blue for single leg. You could go to 3 reds for single leg. So it just depends on what you want to feel. I don't want to feel my legs burning that much right now. So I'm going to be 2 reds. If you want to feel more quads, definitely you can amp it up for sure. So this is where I'm at. And let's go ahead and lay back down. Right. So we're just gonna recheck back in with that neutral real quick. I'm gonna start with my left ball of the foot on the foot bar, right leg tabletop. And just kind of note when you go into a tabletop, if like a shift or a sway wants to happen. So you'll see me use my fingertips. I think that's really helpful because you can feel if a hip is trying to do something a little wonky. But so I'm here today. Good. And then goal is that left foot stays relatively still. And here we go. So my right leg's hanging out tabletop. Smidge of a little activation here, left glute hamstring. If this does not feel good on your knee for any reason, please switch to your heel. So you can always put your heel on the bar instead of the ball of the foot. Is that a bicycle? Option to add on with that bicycle. So we inhale, bend, exhale, reach. This is an option. If that's not feeling happy for you, just go back to what felt good. Maybe what felt good was 2 legs on, that's fine. And then if your lower back's feeling a little twingy, just know that your leg doesn't need to go low. It just needs to go out if you're choosing a bicycle. Last one. Relax, another leg. So right ball the foot on the foot bar, left leg tabletop. I'm gonna refine my happy spot. Abs are there. Let's go. Find a breath that works for you, okay? Always err on the side of breathing more. I'm gonna add in my bicycle. Remember that that is an option. Here we go. It's a reach and bend. Everything's still neutral. Let's go for 4 and 3. Last one, all the way in. And you're done. No, I'm just kidding. But it feels good, right? Okay, I'm gonna reach back. So, little note here, I'm set up on 2 and 2, which is great for me for hands and straps, feet and straps, pulling anything not with my feet on. My settings are 2 and 2. If your footwork settings were a little bit further out, this is the time when you're gonna wanna shift yourself back in. So I like 2 and 2 for pretty much everything else. If you have a preferred setting, go for it. But especially if you're taller, you're gonna get more range of motion with hand stuff, feet stuff, basically anything without the feet on the foot bar. They just scoot you in a little bit. So if you wanna take a second and adjust your equipment, go for it. I'm also gonna be going into feet and straps. I'm using the double loops. So you're gonna hear me say long loop, short loop. If you have the standard loops, and I can use them in another video so we can talk about it. But if you have the standard loops, you're either gonna keep it how it is in one long regular loop, or you're gonna slide that little extra ring to the end, fold it over, and add it to your clip. So that would be your short loop. Your long loop would be with it out of the clip. Hopefully that makes sense. I am going to lay back down. So I'm on 2 reds still. If you're not on 2 reds, I recommend shifting down to 2. We're gonna go to feet and straps, and I personally don't love anything over 2 with feet and straps. So see how you feel. And then we're gonna go to feet in the long loops or your just standard loop. Go. All right, 1 foot in at a time. And then I'd like to start out. Okay, so give yourself a little check-in here. Sometimes we feel like everything's super straight, but then when you actually look, the legs can be to a side. Maybe your hips aren't in the middle of the reformer. So just give yourself a second. And then everything else is gonna feel so much better. All right, put some weight into your feet. Feel like you are standing on the floor. Your floor is your straps, but you still have control over where the tension's coming from. And just feel how the ropes really want to like pull everything in this way. And instead, find your neutral, find your abs, reach, and just feel like you can be here. Nice. From that place, we're gonna bend and stretch. Inhale to bend, exhale to press. I'm thinking about a neutral pelvis, little pinch where the butt meets the back of the leg to start my press out. And remember, this should never feel like lower back. You can always angle the legs up, bend the knees in less. You could also use that little imprint if you need it to feel a little bit more abs and get out of the low back if that's where you need to be. I'm gonna add a point and flex. So point as the toes reach out, pull the toes in on the way in, exhale, reach, inhale, bend, 2 more. Last one, hold, heels together, toes apart. So that same V shape we did earlier with the feet on the bar, maybe recheck in. Yeah, I've shifted. So if you need to move something around, go for it. We're gonna inhale, bend, exhale, press. Knees open, about shoulder width with those knees. So we're not doing like your maximum turnout, but you also don't want your knees digging into the ropes. No one likes that. Tailbone neutral reach. Inhale, exhale. 2 more. Last one, here we go, reach and hold. All right, everyone's favorite. This is why we really come to Pilates, right? Rotate parallel, so knees together, feet together. I want you to keep your tailbone really anchored down, a lot of length here. We're just gonna hinge the legs towards you for a hamstring stretch. Give yourself a second at the top. Is your tailbone still heavy? If it is tucking under and your butt's lifting up, I'd like you to get your tailbone a little heavier. That might mean you need to press the legs down an inch and then hold. So find a spot where you can hold and you're not in your lower back. Good. So with the tailbone heavy and the abs around, could the legs hinge towards you 1 more inch? And maybe that starts to feel more like a deeper hamstring stretch and less like we're just picking the hips up. And then we're gonna press it down. So I'm gonna move through it. I like to inhale up and exhale down. Keep moving, keep breathing. You're gonna see me go kind of low. I just think it feels good. If it doesn't feel good for you, don't go there. 45-ish degrees would be like standard. I just like this, okay? So you don't have to follow along. Do what's good for your body. And then remembering the goal is not how high could I possibly get the legs. The goal is a hamstring stretch that doesn't hurt your back. So aim for that. I'm gonna switch now, heels together, toes apart. Same movement, same breath, same focus, different feeling. So I always have one hip that's like a little bit, I feel it more, much more on my left. But I usually feel it around here, so it's less like back of the thigh and more like wrapping around. Thanks. Go for, let's do 2 more. Last one. All right, rotate parallel. We're gonna go into an adductor stretch. So we're gonna bring the legs as high as you did for your hamstring stretch at the most. You're gonna hold it. And then we're gonna open, close the legs without moving the carriage. So I'm gonna go kind of wide-ish. For me, it's decent. Feels good. But if you open shoulder width and that's where you're at and you come back, fantastic. Your goals is carriage staying stable, abs on, back happy always. So if those first goals aren't happening, change something. Change your range of motion, change your move, change your spring. I'm gonna do 2 more. Inner thighs stretch, inner thighs work. Last one. And then I'm gonna bend my knees. I'm gonna come out of feet and straps. One foot finds the foot bar, then the other foot. We're all the way back in. I'm gonna go right to mid-back series here. And I'm gonna go lighter. You could stay on 2 reds. That's very like standard. I'm going to change just to 1 red. I have some shoulder little instability, so you'll probably see that. But for me, 1 red is awesome. I feel like I can work the muscles around my joints without my joint hurting. So if you do this and you're on 2 reds or heavier or lighter, find a tension where you feel muscles, but you don't feel joint pain. That's all I have to say about that. Good. Here we go. Okay, so I'm gonna have my hands in the smaller of the loops, and if you need to double it, just take a second and double your straps. If you don't have these double loops, which by the way, I do love them. I highly recommend them. Okay. We're gonna do legs tabletop, 1 at a time comes up, back's in a happy spot, open collarbone. Give yourself a second, feel the abs. Feel the shoulder blades going down the back already. Good. And then we're gonna press nice and smooth. Hands go down. Open collarbone on the way up. Let's go for 5. Exhale, inhale. So I'd like you to try to find muscles in your mid-back instead of your shoulders freaking out. We're gonna do one more and then I'm gonna give you another spot to find that feeling. So arms come up, hold it here if you can. If you need a break, just put your feet down, no problem. If you can hold it, let's hold it. And then hands are gonna open to a small V. Feel like an open collarbone and your shoulders going down your back, almost like you're about to make snow angels. And I like to picture an orange under my armpit. We're gonna squeeze it. Feel your lats, so that's muscles kind of long down the side of your back. And breathe. Make sure those knees aren't floating away from you. If they are, pull them in, use your abs. If you need a break, take a break. I'm gonna keep going just to get it over with. We're gonna open the arms out to a T. Pull the hands in. Inhale, exhale, or reverse that, but keep breathing. Last one. Hands hold by the hips, palms down. Tricep press, exhale, press, in and press. I have my elbows hovering about an inch off the reformer. I love that. If that doesn't feel good for you though, like this is weird, just put your elbows down. You can keep them down. It feels really secure like that. I'm gonna be here. One more. And done. One foot down, the other foot down. Take a break. I like to do a little sway side to side. I think it feels good. All right. And that's the last time we're gonna be laying down for a little bit. So come on up to a vertical position. Hang your straps up real quick. And we are gonna go right into some back rowing. Again, I'm gonna be a little bit lighter. I'm gonna do a blue and a white. And my goal here is not a massive sweat, but just to kind of open up my chest and start working some muscles in my upper mid back. So I think a blue and a white feels awesome. You could stay on a red. That's totally fine. If you're feeling a little stronger today, you wanna go to a red and a blue, go for it. So I'm gonna have my hands in my small loops. I'm also sitting cross-legged. That feels good to me. You wanna be in a sitting position where the front of your hips just feel happy. So for me today, I'm feeling this. You could have your legs long out in front of you. That's fine. You could grab a platform extender, sit on that with the legs long or crossed. You could also sit on a box. So if you need to put a box on, put it lengthwise, have a seat on it, and put your feet on the headrest. You can do all of this on a box. Just note if you go up, your angles change, whatever, you just might need to go a little lighter. So find your happy spot, follow along. So I've got my hands in the small loops. I'm gonna bring them down to the side, opening my shoulders. Set the shoulders down and back, and just kind of give yourself a second. Where's the weight at on your sit bones? So I like to close my eyes and kind of find like a happy spot. So for me, it feels like here. And then are the ribs trying to like push forward or pull back? And could you find an in-between? Awesome. And from there, we're gonna move. Hands go down and back, down and forward. If you're feeling a ton of like upper traps, like neck, shoulder area, you might consider going down in your tension or changing something about the way you're sitting, or maybe just your focus. So I like to think about an open collarbone the whole time. Like my head is trying to lift up to the ceiling and my fingers are trying to reach down to the floor. Let's do 2. Last one. Okay, just for fun, let's all try this alternative position together. So you can turn your palms in instead of back. So it's like you're karate chopping back in space. And if you've got any roundness going on your shoulders, I think this feels really good. So play around with it, and then in your own workouts, now you have this as a tool in your toolbox, right? Go for 3. You can also feel that tricep a little more, so that's a bonus. 2. Last one. Done. All right. Okay, I'm gonna hang those up, and then we're gonna flip this way. So I've got my right side closer to the pulleys. I'm gonna hang my other strap up. I'm gonna grab this strap that's closer towards you, further away from your back. So my right hand has a nice small loop, and I'm also gonna go down just to a blue, probably for a while. So I'm gonna be on a blue. We're gonna go spine twist and some shoulder girdle stuff. If that's not feeling good for you, you wanna add a white or go to a red or a red and a white, play around with it. Okay, but we're gonna start spine twist. So we're gonna interlace the fingers. Take a second and just hold center. So your carrot should be out a little bit. We're gonna twist towards the pulleys and hold, and then twist away. I like to inhale towards the pulley and then exhale away. And what you want to think about is how much could my abs do? How little could my shoulders do? So this is a super common situation, right? I don't recommend doing that. You can fly around. But set the shoulders, and that shape is moving because your abs are working so hard to turn you to the right and so hard to turn you to the left. And if you want to keep going, go for it. If you need to take a break, take a break. We've done a few. I'm going to give you another option though. Option, semi-straighten the arms, like a little bend in the elbow. Set the shoulders and twist. So you'll feel this is definitely more work on the obliques for sure. The arms are a longer lever here, but I do love that it kind of takes out all the elbow stuff, and we're kind of just going straight. Straight one way and the other. One more. Take a break. Okay, we're gonna hang that up. Before we do the other side, we're gonna go right to front rowing. Again, I'm gonna leave it light. I like it. I think it feels awesome. And that's what I need today. So I'm on a blue, but you could be a blue and white. You could be a red. Feel free to play around. And again, I'm gonna be sitting. You could be sitting on a platform. You could have your legs straight out, whatever feels good, but I'm gonna be crisscross here. Open collarbone. Give yourself a second. Again, find that nice sit bone position where you feel like you're not falling back or arching forward. All right, a lot of abs. Arms reach shoulder height and down. So try to find that shoulder height without going really far forward or too high up. I like to envision my back is against a wall. And could you just kind of keep it along the wall? So we're not gonna peel away from it or fall into it. You do have an option to move along your wall, and that is up. So could you grow even taller along your wall? Oh, hello, abs. One more. We're gonna lift and hold. So palms face you, little bend in the elbows. Second position here. Inhale, open, exhale, close. Open collarbone. I'd like you to think about the shoulder blades. They're just gliding together, gliding apart. That's it. So it's not how wide can you make the arms. It's just, can we Keep everything else stable while those shoulder blades are doing their job. Last one, hold it. Palms turned up. We're gonna bend the elbows in, reach the arms out. I'm gonna keep doing that. Keep my palms up. And if you need to stay here, stay here. Option 2, we reach and hold. Arms stay straight. We open them a little bit. We close them a little bit. We bend. So you reach. Open a little wider than the shoulders. Get them in line with the shoulders. Bring it back. And we reach out. And open, get taller. Keep getting taller, keep getting taller. That's a lot of abs, right? One more, reach. And shoulder squat. I'm feeling this, even on a blue. Okay, here we go. We're gonna keep those palms facing up. Hold it here. We're gonna change the rotation of the palms as we press. So we're gonna add on to that press we did earlier with some changing of the palms. So as you reach out, turn the palms down. As you come in, turn the palms up. And we reach. And exhale, inhale. Again, this is not making your shoulder happy. Go back to something that felt awesome. Give me 3. And 2. Last one. Done. All right, I'm gonna hang up my straps. And then I'm gonna turn away from you, but just for a minute. Okay, so I'm gonna turn this way. And now we're going spine twist on the other side. So we're kind of going around the world here. My left hand has the strap furthest away from my back. I'm gonna interlace my fingers and pause and just kind of check in with your hips. We're gonna twist towards the pulley and then twist away. So one side might feel much different than the other, or maybe it's a subtle difference. Either way, totally normal. But I'd like you to think about, just take a little note to yourself, how this feels versus the other side. Does one side feel smoother, or easier, or stronger? And then there's just some opportunities to deepen our movements, our sensations. And when we bring awareness to those little differences, we expand our opportunities. One more. Okay, you can keep going with the elbows bent. You can take a break if you need to, or we go to that straight arm option. So we're here. Wowzers, obliques. Love it. You know, I'm trying, you're gonna see little shifts here, but I'm really trying to think up. Like a barbershop pole, just spiraling up out of your hips. 2 more. Last one. Awesome. Okay, we're gonna hang that up. And then I'm gonna grab my box. So I'm gonna keep my tension where it's at. I like it on, I'm on a blue. We are gonna go into some arms pulling strap stuff. So let's put that foot bar all the way down. So I've got it just completely out of the way. And then I'm gonna grab my long box and put that on lengthwise. Now, to get on, hand, hand, hip, hip. If this is not a happy position for you, options. Okay, you can put a little pad underneath your hip bones. If you know what you need, go for it. If you like to cross your ankles, you can do that. I've seen a lot of different variations. I'm gonna give you option 1 without any straps. So you just need to just focus on feeling your upper back without moving, totally fine. So option 1, we're gonna start with the hands on the corners of the carriage. Send the shoulders down the back. Find your abs around there for you. And then we're gonna start with the head down. You can use your hands, okay? So send those shoulders down, a little pressure into the hands. Come up to one line. Maybe that's where you're at. That's cool. And back down. Option to come up a little past one line. And maybe we go into a little extension. So how far do we go up? That's your call, okay? But I don't like to go higher than I feel. Like you never want to feel your lower back. So that's a signal you've gone too high. And then I try to aim to keep those lowest ribs still on your back. So if I were to push up like this, my ribs would be up. And then I haven't really changed my shape. I just pushed it up in space. So aim for movement in between your shoulder blades. Oh, there we go. I found it. Okay. When you find it, it feels awesome. Feel free to hang on to that for a minute. You don't have to keep moving. If you want to hold something, just kind of reprogram into your body what that could feel like. Okay, I'm going to add my straps. That is an option, you do not have to. Okay, so we're here. Shoulders are down the back, we start round, abs up. I'm gonna find relatively one line, and then hands go back, and I lift. And then I take it down one line, and then round. Think about passing through that one line. Give yourself time to find it. As the knuckles go back, the collarbone opens, the fingers reach back, the chest lifts. Breathe. Give me 2 or 3 more. Let it feel good. If that means you need to pause, adjust, work through some sticky spots, go for it. Last one. Awesome. Okay. I'm going to hang my straps up. And we are almost done here. Come off the box. Not like how I just did. Hand, hand, hip, hip. I'm going to take that box off. Put it away. All right. And then we're going to bring the foot bar up. I am going to go to 1 red for a quick elephant. There are a lot of options with spring tensions for your elephant. So you could be anywhere from like a blue spring, which is crazy light, I don't recommend starting there, to 2 reds, right? Depends on what you want to feel. So I want to feel like my lower back is getting a nice stretch, like my abs are around, and like my glutes are on a little bit. I just kind of want to feel connected. So I'm going to hang out on the red. You want to feel more abs, you can go lighter. Just caution on the way in. And then if you want to feel more like glute, hamstring, press, go a little heavier. Just caution on the abs thing in their nice little shape. So I'm going to go hand, hand, foot, foot. And again, you have options. There's always options. We're going to start standing. So feet flat, hips back. Now, I'm going to walk back a little bit, but ideally, your hips start over your heels. And then we're in like a nice lifted up position with the abs. So, depending on your height, you might not be all the way against the shoulder rest. I might try that out today and see how it goes. But if you're like my height or shorter, or just proportions of your legs are different, or you're just feeling a little tight in your hamstrings, you can walk your feet in so your heels are under your hips. You can also go about halfway up the shoulder rest with the heels and then shift the hips back, and then that might be the difference that you need to get back. So I'm going to be here. Your hands are just there so you don't fly forward, so try not to shift that way. Abs are in and up. A little pinch, not even pinch, just awareness of glute hamstring area. That's going to help me on the out and the in. So on the way in, could you feel like your hips are still trying to reach back behind you? Your abs are still trying to stay up. We're still trying to stay round in the lower back. So it's a little bit of glutes, a lot of abs, hips stay back, 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 back. Give me 3. And 2. Last one. Let those shoulders stay down your back. And done. All right. Let's do a little mermaid. I am gonna, let's see. So traditionally, your mermaid's like a seated fourth. And I don't know if you can see, my hips kind of like hiked up off the carriage today. It's not like that every day. Today it is. So I'm gonna grab a platform just so I can like feel my mermaid better. So if your hip is doing the same thing, grab a platform with me. I will also give you another option. You can always sit cross-legged. So I'm gonna put mine lengthwise, kind of closer to this back shoulder rest, but I can still see like 2 inches of my carriage this way, so I know it's not gonna fly off. So I'm gonna still sit in the mermaid. So my right shin is against the shoulder rest, my left foot is in front, and now I can actually get my right hip down, and it feels so much better. So you can be there, you can be here, you can be here. Pick what your happy spot, okay? Don't work through discomfort. All right, we're gonna anchor that right hip down. Left hand on the foot bar. I'm gonna scooch a little bit so I can reach the foot bar, but you might already be there. And then I want you to think about that right hip, or whichever hip is further away from your carriage, nice and anchored down. That arm goes up, and we press away and go over, and come back up. Opposite hand lifts and we go over. Okay, keep moving, keep breathing. I'm gonna give you some things to think about. How little could we use the shoulders? How much could we feel a stretch on the side? So next time you're over, give yourself a little pause. What's happening with that pressing shoulder and elbow? And maybe we can make it less about the pressing arm, more about anchoring that opposite hip and getting a deep side bend. When you find it, hold it. It feels so good. Breathe into it. Pull it back up. Okay. All right. One more here. And over. All right, I'm gonna add a little twist. So take that outside hand, both hands find the shoulder rest. Now you might be here. This might be like, wow, that's a stretch. Totally fine. I'm gonna add a little tuck of my pelvis back, send my shoulders down, and almost feel like I could pull these shoulder rests away from me. And don't pull them too much, because if you're on the Marathon equipment, they can come out, right? So just gentle. Ah, feels good. I feel a nice stretch through the mid-upper back. Good. All right, we're gonna do the same thing, other side. So hop on up. We're gonna scooch that platform the other way. And then I'm gonna leave some space there. Have a seat. Left shin against the shoulder rest, right foot in front. If you're doing that, remember you can sit cross-legged or have the legs dangle. Then we're gonna have that right hand on the foot bar, left hand up and over. Thinking about the shoulder staying down, that left hip staying down. Let's go 2 more, and then we'll finish with that nice twist. Breathe however feels natural here. Last one. And we're gonna add that little twist here. Both hands find the shoulder rest, shoulders are down. We kind of tuck back a little. And then untwist yourself. and give yourselves a hand. You killed it. I hope you feel amazing. Use this whenever you want a moderate pace, kind of full body movement. Other things that you could add in that we didn't get to today, any kind of tucking. So we didn't do like back rowing. If you love back rowing, go for it, or short box. And then a nice hip stretch. So single thigh stretch would feel fantastic after this. I just don't want to keep you here for an hour and a half. But I hope you feel amazing. Great work, and I'll see you next time.